Welcome to the Allured Life podcast. My name is Katie Christ, and in 2016, I wrote down in a journal that I was going to become unapologetically my best self. And my purpose is to help women do the same, whether that's overcoming body image issues, creating next level inner confidence, or up-leveling our emotional intelligence and sense of worth. I believe that by investing in and developing who we are, we can exponentially transform the world we live in. My mission is to create power and influence in the hands of women. These are conversations for those ready to rise. This is the Allured Life podcast. Let's go all in. Hello, and welcome to the Allured Life podcast. It has been a hot minute. Honestly, mostly because Gabby. This was a week. And this episode, part of me is like, I don't know if I want to talk about this, because it involves my family. And my family has always been very, very private in these matters. And two, though, there comes with I've chosen to live a life that I want to be learning and growing and developing myself into the most powerful person that I can be, the strongest woman that I can be, and leading women to do the same. Leading women to live. And honestly, this week I'll probably cry on this podcast, but this week has really honestly opened me up to what does that actually mean, Katie? What does that mean of what do you want to be doing with your coaching, with this podcast? What is this? What is the biggest why? Backstory. So here's a story. I actually have a story, a life story. And this is another reason why I was like, let's just do it, Katie. Let's record this. I want you to, because I want to remember this. In hindsight, and this week rocked me. So just go. Just go, Katie. So whoever's listening to this, whether it's this week that this comes out or in 5 years from now, you find this random podcast. Hopefully it's not random at that point. I'm a daughter of a football coach. Paul Christ is my dad. He and my mom, the power couple that they are, they're the ones that inspired me to live a life of make magic happen, Katie. What if, Katie? I wrote a post about this past Monday of just living a life of what if we could do this? What if the things that are in your heart, the possible things that you don't know will happen, but hey, maybe it could. They've taught me that that's something that you can strive for. The what if. And the things about, so there's three, there's the predictable life, right? The predictable of, I know that when I do X, I will receive Y as an outcome. I know that when I go to work, I will get this salary. I know that when I work out, I will get this sweaty. And I've never really felt very comfortable in the life of predictability, because I saw a little glimpse of a life of a possibility. What if we get into this coaching world and we go places, we see places, we meet these student athletes that are amazing, these men and women too, that are phenomenal. What if we can become a head coach? What if we travel the world? There's so much, but what if we make it, right? How many people have aspired to do something and they don't make it? What if we make it? Yeah, this is cool. And with the flip side of that, when you're living in the life of possibility, also comes the maybe it's not going to happen. there's this duality, right? That's kind of giving context a little bit and not exactly what I want to talk about this week, but my dad chose, and my mom chose a life of what if, chose a life of possibility, and focused in on maybe this is going to work, maybe yes. But going in a life of possibility where amazing things can happen, maybe no's are just as likely to happen too. And we got a maybe no on Sunday, a couple of days ago, when my dad was fired from University of Wisconsin, a place that we have always, it was home for us. It's home. It's home. But it rocked me because I kept, there were circumstantial evidence that this could happen, that this thing of this possibility of him getting fired, there was circumstantial evidence. I personally didn't even allow myself that way, because I was like, I know the power of focusing in and staying in the heat of the maybe yes, and the energetics behind that so much more aligns to you actually achieving that outcome versus the other hand. Like I know this. And so I personally didn't even allow myself to step into the maybe no of this happening. And I got a call after Ryan and I went to church, and we were driving to the grocery store. I got a call that changes are going to be made. And I just remember I went in the grocery store and I just couldn't even, I was like, what are we shopping for? How many, apples? I'm looking at apples right now. What? I couldn't. So I told Ryan, I was like, Ryan, you got this. I'm going to go sit in the car. And the reason why I think I was so shocked by it was, again, I was in the maybe yes boat the whole time. And I will always be in the maybe yes. I don't care. The maybe no's hurt when they actually come into fruition, but I will always live in the maybe yes, because the energetics and the momentum and the mindset in that area, so much more is opened up. But it was the end of something that I wasn't ready for. And it was the end of the identity that I've had for 28 years. I'm a coach's kid. For half of our life, half of our year, 6 months of the year, basically from August through December, it's season. We're in season. We're going to the games. It's summer training camp. We're going to games, and we're striving for a bowl game. That was it. That was it. It was the end of, my family, the coaching family, what? I'm not seeing them 6 months out of the year now anymore. And two, honestly, there was some ego shock as well of, that's not how I wanted him to go out. That's not, I was like, Christs do not get fired. Being a Christ, there is no, so much, it was a lot of ego that I think my pain stemmed from, of how dare you think somebody else is better? How, what? We are the best that there is. What? A lot of ego, a lot of ego. And, yeah, lots of tears on set. Actually, no, Sunday wasn't tears. Sunday was shock. It actually progressed into, and I'll talk about this, this podcast is about the lessons I've learned this past week, and they are three main ones. And I think 3 main ones, and they locked in for me this week. But I'm getting ahead of it. But my emotions this past week, it went from shock to really, really sad on Monday to really angry on Tuesday to Wednesday, I felt an immense form of gratitude. So I literally went like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, like almost kind of like if anybody's ever seen the emotional, I think it's like the emotional ladder or the emotional, like you go from one and then you go up the other one and you go up the other one. I truly did. I went from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. But the thing is, I learned a lot this week about being a strong person. The biggest lesson that I learned was from my dad. I went and I brought, I was like, I'm going to the grocery store. Sunday night, I was like, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going to get him food because he's not going to want to like show his face and I can't let him go hungry. So I came over with Culver's milkshake, 2 large ones, large chocolate, some cereal, and some stuff for beef stroganoff. And I was like, here you go. Or I don't need to stay here too much. And I saw my dad and I was like, hey, how you doing? And he was like, Katie, and he grabbed his phone. And he said, look at how many text messages I have right now. And there were hundreds. It literally like scroll from players. I don't know what they said. I don't know, but my dad was like, Katie, I'm good. Like, I have players right now that are reaching out to me, and that's what mattered. I was never in this for the name. I was never in this for the money. I was never in this for the title. I was always in this for the players. Always the players. And I knew that about my dad. And even right now, like, I know I said this in the beginning of just like my family is very personable. And for me to be talking about this on a platform that could be public, is public, like I feel a little icky about this, but 2, it landed for me, the impact of this. And so if it landed for me so hard, I hope it changes somebody too. But he said to me, it was always about the players. Always. And I knew this 28 years growing up. I knew it was always about the players. It's always about the players, Kitty. Like, it's all about the players. All about the players. What's good for the players. That was what led him. That's what gave him fire every single day. That was his why for coaching. Plain and simple. We hear about, oh, you have to have a strong why for everything that we do, right? I think I have on this bookshelf behind me, Start With Why by Simon Sinek, I believe. It's a huge thing that I've been seeing in being an entrepreneur and being a coach. Of starting your own business, you have to have a big why. You have to have a mission that you believe in that can carry you through. And I was like, okay, I get it. Cool. Okay, we need to have a good why. And even too with my coaching clients of I coach women on body image and weight loss and health. How does football like come into play with this? We start off with you have to have a why that's bigger than you. That's bigger than that. Really, out of a 9 out of a 10, 10 being this is the most important thing that you can focus on. It has to be between an 8 and a 10. Like that has to be your why for doing the things that you do in this program for your health. Like we've heard this before, right? We've heard, oh, have a good why, have a good reasoning, and like align to that. I heard it before. This week I felt it of why is having a why so important? Something and two of having something that is so good, so simple, so pure, and aligning your actions every single week, every single month, every single year, every single day. I know I went out of order with that. Aligning your actions to being in alignment to integrity with that why. Why is that so important? Because when you align your actions, when everything that you do is for a why that is purely good, nothing can get you. This kind of a thing that if there was ego placed into my dad's why, if there was a alignment to the money, the title, the influence, the recognition, if there was importance placed on that, if that was a part of his why, this would have freaking hurt. It didn't for him. And I was like, wait, what? Because my why for football being important in my life, there was ego attached to it. There was there was a little bit of just because I wasn't doing what my dad was doing every single day. I wasn't with the players. I wasn't doing that action. I saw the influence part of it. I saw the big game aspect of it. I saw the being on the TV. I saw the people recognizing him, them coming up and talking to me and being like, "What's your dad like? Is he so cool?" Like I saw that part. So there was ego attached for me, which I'm not proud to admit. There was nothing on that for him. I was like, and even so, it's like, get fired up. Like, it's like, Katie, I'm good. Like, it was always about the players. It's always about the players. And so that was the biggest, of if you have a good why for the things that you're doing in your life, for the ambitions that you're striving for, if it is a good and true and authentic why, things like this that they might scratch you, but they're not gonna hurt you. This is like the why carries you through this. The why carries you through the hard times, the sucky times, the like anything that like the frustration times, the embarrassing times, the why, if it is so pure and so aligned with you and so good. Like let's not complicate it at all. Let's keep it really dang simple. Is this good? Is this good for me? Is this why good for you? Is this why good for us? Then it's going to carry you through everything. Everything. And so whatever I truly, this actually totally, and Happy's going to come say hello right now. This made me be like, what's my why right now? What is my why? Being on this podcast, doing this business, living the life with Ryan, my life with like having like what is my why? And at the truest form, what is the good for me, for you, and for us? The collective, the community, the world. Like there can be trickling effects of your why being good if we figure it out. Like my dad's why, it's for the players. And like when he focused on that, he was lit up. Sometimes I even got a little bit jealous of like, oh, like that's my dad. Why are like you're hanging out with that? Like especially when kids were becoming my age, I was like, but my dad doesn't hang out with me like that or laugh with me like that. Like they're so much cooler than I am, but they lit him up and gave him so much happiness, so much life, so much energy. I know that there's like comments out there that saying he was just not like a very energetic guy. He like just didn't fire everybody up. You should have seen him with the players in like an authentic and a true way. And because he was doing something that, this is the lesson number 2, I'm realizing the true for me, for you, for us aspect of things, of following a life that feels good for you first, for me first. Think about like when I'm saying this to you right now, I'm going to say for you first, but it's for me. What is good for me? What lights me up? I talked about this in Reactivate on day 3 of sometimes it doesn't make sense, but just us allowing ourselves to follow what lights us up will directly link to us achieving our goals. Me cleaning the house will directly link to my goals of running this business, because it's in that energetic that it truly, like when I feel good and I follow those desires, you feel it too. You feel good. And then because you feel good, then there's a trickling effect of who are the yous that you're reaching out to. You're the for me, who are the yous that feel good from that? And that's where the us collective starts to come into. I'm also right now watching Dahmer on Netflix and realize that like what feels good sometimes, like I know some people will be, well, like for Dahmer it felt good to like kill people. Okay, you know what I mean, right? But it was this, again, my dad's why felt good. It was good. It felt good to focus on the player. Like there was goodness there. There was simplicity. There was clean. It was squeaky clean. Squeaky clean. It's for the players. It's for the players. And because his why felt so good for him, he went into the business for me. It did not make sense when he started that this was going to work out. The amount of times that it didn't, that we were in places for 1 year and then had to move, that when he was down in Texas, the league folded and he still was like, what if? Maybe yes, this will work out. And then it being about like he embodied for me what feels good in the work that I'm doing. It's for the players. And that became a for you for like I saw that every time that he was lit up by a player, I felt it. I wasn't even in the room, but I know players that have taught me so much about there's different perspectives in this world. There's hard things, there's good things, there's so much that I've learned through those players without even being in the room with them, because it transferred from that, from my dad, from his interactions. It transferred directly into me and my soul. And that's what lit me up of people have a lot of power in this world. And people can do amazing things if given the opportunity and if given the platform as well too. And that's what inspired me to be like, I want this for women specifically. What kind of platforms that are around athletics that we can step into and feel so dang powerful, influential, magnetic. And this is where I'm restructuring. Okay, what is the why behind this? Like, what is it? What's my players? And what does it align for me, for you, for us, so that we start to feel that trickling effect? And right now, all I can say is it's stepping into a room. It's building a community of women who they feel powerful, where things like body image, self-conscious, like I think it started with there because that's what made me feel small personally, being self-conscious in my body and not feeling like I could speak up in kind of finding my own place in the workplace, of understanding and feeling weak whenever I felt emotional or if I stuttered over my words, and like not liking how I was showing up, knowing that I could be better, do better, strive for something better. I think that's the container that's my why right now. I don't know yet. I'm still figuring it out, because this week I realized it has to be squeaky clean. Our whys for doing anything in this world, this can be applied to anything. Your health, losing weight, what's your why? That's squeaky clean. Like squeaky clean, cannot be tarnished whatsoever. Your work, what's a why that is squeaky clean? It's good for me, for you, for us. It's good. It's good, good, good. What's a why for your relationships? For your romantic relationships, your relationships with your kids, your relationships with your dog, your relationships with your neighbors, with your colleagues, with your relationships with people that have different opinions of you. What is the why that can be encompassing of everything, that is squeaky clean, that it can hold you through everything, even the really, really hard days? And what's a why? I think this is going to be my biggest thing, that your ego is not attached to it. You're not doing this work because people think you're the bomb.com, because you're going to be on the stage, or you want people to look at you a certain way and admire you, and you want to make people jealous, and you want people to be like what is your why, that there is no ego attached to it? I think I'm going to flush this one out for me specifically, because there is some unclean, like some things that I need to scratch off with my own why right now too, that is attached to the ego. Anything money related, there's some ego stuff with there. I gotta scratch it off. It's my scratching noise. With the business that I'm building, what's the ego attached to it? Let's scratch it off. My health, where is their ego attached to this, of me feeling better than other people? Scratch it off. We have to scratch this off, because if not, then when things do either fail, quote unquote, or don't work out the way that we want it to, or take a lot longer than we think it should be taking, it's going to hurt a lot more. We're going to feel it so much more. Can we scratch off things that our ego is attached to, so that we feel good about the actions that we're taking every single day? That it landed for me this week, of how important your why is, and how important it is to build a life in alignment with that why, with the context. I talk about this a lot. Talked about this in Season of Strength, talked about this in Reactivate. I'll talk about this in Metamorphosis. Like the context of your life. What is it? And this context can hold you through everything. My dad's context for the players. Squeaky clean. Squeaky clean. And it held him through this. Of you're good. He's good. Because there was just, and he'd figure out if he wasn't good. And he'd figure out too of because somebody might be listening to this and be like, it wasn't all for, he treated this player really, I don't know. I don't know. There could be some people that are like, I don't know, Kitty, I don't know. And so there's room and space for that as well. But there's a context that held this thing that happened Sunday. It was for, he's good. Everyone's okay. We're good. And so again, I don't know if this lands for you as it landed for me because it's so personal personal. It's so close to home. But it just showcased how dang important your why is for everything that we do in life. And I also, so we have so when my grandfather passed away, and I apologize if I get this story a little bit wrong. They found written, I don't know what it was written on, but the words trust, tolerance, teach by example, develop by learning, written by him. I can't remember if it was on a notepad or if it was within a Bible, but they've never heard him talk about this before. And when he passed away, that was kind of his focus for faith. Trust, tolerance, teach by example, develop by learning. And I grew up always knowing that, okay, these are some words to live by. This is something that, like, my dad, I always kind of saw, my dad had a little picture of my grandpa with those words all together. I know that I believe it was at Pitt. I think they were written on somewhere in the facility. I cannot remember. But this week it landed. This is a sequence for success. It's a sequence. It's a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Again, in Reactivate, I talk about creating a context and everything that, like, whatever is landing for you, those dreams, those desires, those ambitions that you feel in your heart, like, they're there for a reason. Trust it. And trust that it's coming. Trust it. If you can stay in the heat, if you can trust the desires that come to you, trust that they're good and trust that they'll come. Start off with trust. Trust in yourself. Trust, trust, trust. Next step, tolerance. I phrase this with clients of just, so we have this thing that we're striving for, whatever your ambition, your desire is, trust in that it will come. Trust it. Trust in your ability to get there. Hold the negative emotions that may come with it, that are a lot. Be tolerant of the things that are coming to you. Tolerate the not there yet. I'm not, like, there's not enough time. There's going to be things that will pop up, like, show tolerance towards that. Hold those emotions. Hold those negative feelings. Hold these experiences. It just, part of me even is like, I got to look up the word tolerate, because, like, does this even allow? But it makes sense to me. Trust in the process, trust in yourself, and tolerate the things that are coming that aren't, you're like, I don't like how this is going. This is not fast enough. I don't know if this is, like, just hold it. Tolerate these things. You don't have to make them mean anything. Just hold it. Tolerate this. I also talk about this in Seasons of Strength, by the way. Next step. Teach by example. I believe that we all want to have some form of influence in the world. How many people have sat down and said, like, I want to make a difference in this world? Teach by example. By example, what does that mean? Be the type of person, become the type of person, live into the type of person that you would like to see other people being in, becoming, living into. Teach by example. Step first, lead first, you first. Me for you, for us. Me first. Teach by example. Me, for you, for us. Do you see how all those things are going together? And the reason why this one hit me, again, I was like, holy crap, it's a sequence. It's two reasons. One, for being, this will land for the women and the men that are business owners, that are in the coaching sphere in general too, of we need to embody everything that we're coaching on. Teach by example, embody it, live it, so that people look at you, look at your social media, look at the way that you talk, look at the way that like you are living your life, even if, and two, when nobody is around, almost act like you got hidden cameras. It's a Big Brother. Are you acting in alignment with what you teach? Of meditation, of patience, of Katie, are you holding the negative emotions that you're feeling? Are you drinking the water that you say to clients of like, drink half your body weight in ounces of water? Like, what is going on? I think we're paused here. Okay. Teach by example. Hits with the business side of things for me. And two, how many women, I've spoken to so many of just, it's so hard to put themselves first because of their kids, obligations with their kids, with their spouse, of being there. Like, teach by example. It's just as simple as that. Let's not even complicate it. You want to like be vibrant and patient and kind, like, and teach your kids that as well, and have them and raise them to be like that as well. Teach by example. Put yourself first. For me, first. Be the person that you want your kids to grow up into. Be the person that you want your, like this was a big one even for how, okay, with Ryan, teach by example. I want to become the woman, if I want the relationship with Ryan that's like amazing, and I want him to dote on me and just do all the things, and it just to be our greatest love story ever, what do I need to do to make that? Like, what is on me? I could sit there and complain and be like, well, Ryan's not picking up this, and he should know how to do this, and he should talk to me better like this, when he should do, I can put everything on him, right? Teach by example. There's a yin and yang to things. When I lead myself, it's good for you. Me first. It'll be like, I know I'm briefly going in on this, and maybe I'll dive in deeper of just like the extent of what this is, because I know someone will listen to this and be like it's all on you. Like, why is it all on you? That's a lot of pressure on yourself. And also, how are you going to change the relationship if it's just like it's just on you? There's a trickling effect. There's an energetics aspect to it. There's so much. So if you are sitting there questioning of like, there's a lot of things on your plate right now. Like, I know there's so much more to it as well, that I wish I was like in conversation with people and we can riff on this. And when you have I can clarify this. That's not the case right now with this kind of a platform, this medium podcast. I'm talking to myself basically right now for you to listen to later. So if you actually do have a question on this, reach out, please. So it's trust, tolerance, teach by example, develop by learning. Again, this is just stuff that I've been talking about for so long. We develop ourselves. We are becoming, we don't become something. We don't just stop. There's so much room for growth. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Learn. And that's why I'm doing stuff like this. Because I want to take the time to actually be like, my life, what is the lesson? Slow down to speed up. What's stopping me or getting in the way of me following through? Like all these things. Do we actually slow down to learn? And learn in the way of think about develop by learning. What does develop mean? Is it just fine-tuning a skill? Is it just like it? For me, develop, I probably should find a little bit more of a powerful word, but I want to be completely changed by what I learn. I'm a new person. I've developed into a new human being of myself. It's a sequence. If you're having a hard time, go back to the beginning. Trust in yourself. Trust that anything that's coming to you, anything that feels good, any desire of yours, unless you're a serial killer, trust, all jokes, I hope. Trust that there's goodness in that ambition, in that desire, in that want. As long as we kind of take the time again to how I was talking before, like just scratch off any ickiness to it as well. Like you want a certain level of financial wealth. Scratch off any ickiness that comes with it, any ego attached to it. Because there is, I'm in a container with women that are making stupid amounts of money. Like $1 million days. Stupid. And I've seen too women that are doing that, having 6-figure months, and there's ickiness attached to it. I mean, this is why a lot of the times the coaching industry does get a little bit of like, that's kind of culty. That's a little bit MLM-y. There's ickiness to it, right? And it's on us to be like, let's scratch at this. Let's get this squeaky clean. So it's good for me, for you, for us. So you desiring wealth, how can we get this where it's squeaky clean? Squeaky clean. And a lot of the times too, from what I'm learning, it's like, this is where it's like if your ambition is just for wealth, like it's not squeaky clean. It's not enough. There's a lot of ego to it. There's a lot of like self-worth and power. Like there's a lot with it. And that's why I'm doing this for the players. It's so much stronger. And then wealth does align with that. It's a match to that. So those are, I think I went through the 3 things of the 3 biggest lessons that I learned. 1, there actually might have been 4. So 1 is go back on, if you're listening to this on Monday, I think that was October 2nd. So October 2nd of 2022, I wrote a post about my learned lesson of living a life of October 3rd, of maybe yes versus maybe no, and living a life of possibility. So that's lesson number 1. The biggest lesson is your why can hold you through everything. Number 3 is the trust, the sequence of that. There was a number 4. What was it? Oh, the number 4 of just another integration of when you live a life of, I'll go deeper in this. I'm fleshing this one out. I think I briefly hit on it of the for me, for you, for us, and how it really does. When your why is so big, that has a trickling effect for sure. So, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I did this justice at all. I'll fine tune this, I promise. Especially because this comes from learned lessons from my family. And so I want to fine tune this. I want this to be good. And I want the way that I talk about this to mean something. And for it to be squeaky clean. So I know that this is my first time other than, I think I talked about this with Ryan. I think I blabbed about this with JoJo, my sister. So I'm getting it out there. Let me allow space. If I said anything that didn't align, I just ask for space to just allow for the squeakiness. Let me come back to this. This is something that I want to come back to. I think this landed this week. This landed for me so big. Let me come back to this and shine it a little bit. Get it squeaky clean. I know that some of the stuff that I talked about won't be squeaky clean right now. So I just asked for space for this. Like, let me come back to this and I'm going to spit shine it and spit shine it again and spit shine it again until this story is squeaky clean. And then when the story is squeaky clean, it's good for me, for you, and for us. So guys, this is, I forgot my fourth. Okay. Next episode. There was another lesson. All right. This is my time. Goodbye. Mwah. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. My goal is to help as many women listening, and if this episode supported you in any way, the very best way to show your appreciation is by simply screenshotting this episode and sharing on your social media or with your friends. Or even better, drop a review on whatever platform you are listening on. Don't forget, if you are looking for any additional support, you can always reach me on Instagram at Katie Christ. See you back here next week.